What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining. Hope you're having a great one today. As always, if you want 10% off your next Hot Toys purchase through Sideshow Collectibles, feel free to steal that code from me. I ain't going to be using it anytime soon. Today, we are looking at 1/6 figure to bobf Deluxe. So for those that don't know, that's Star Wars 1/6, the Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane Deluxe. This is, as you can see up there, the Deluxe set, which normally I'm a huge supporter of getting the Deluxes. Highly recommend it with this guy in particular. If you have the choice, do the Deluxe. It's well worth it. I already pulled him somewhat out. We got him out of the brown box just to save some time there. The big thing with the Deluxe version with this guy, normally, I tend to recommend him because you're spending a little bit extra, sometimes a lot extra. But getting the stuff, if you buy it initially, it's real easy to get rid of the additional accessories. People always buy them. If you don't get the extra accessories initially, they end up being a little bit pricier to hunt down in the long run. So usually, I suggest if you've got the option, grab the Deluxe. With Cad, it is certainly the case. This guy, it's an extra $20. I love that little picture there. $20 more and you get Toto, his little sidekick droid, which, if you watch the show, really any of the shows, I guess technically Clone Wars, Book of Boba Fett, or Bad Batch. Don't remember if he's in Rebels. I don't think he is. I digress. But if you watch any of those, Toto's a pretty significant character in a lot of regards. Yeah, speak of the devil. So getting him is, to me, a pretty big plus, especially when you're looking at a $20 difference. If we were looking at like 30 or $40, I'd still say do it, but $20, yeah, definitely worthwhile. And that is a super cool art insert. We're just gonna say that and leave that there. More importantly is this fella. Now, Sideshow does also have one coming out, which I am gonna get because I absolutely love this guy. But the Hot Toys one is based off the live action appearance. Sideshow one's gonna be based off the Clone Wars animated one. So they definitely look a little bit different. Honest opinion, just from seeing the initial images, I like the Sideshow one better as far as the look. But Sideshow, sometimes they are not the greatest. So I always have flashbacks to Grievous. That being said, the recent figures I've gotten from Sideshow have been amazing, so I've kind of gotten over the Grievous at this point. Suppose we will need to take a look at his guns and all that fun stuff. If I can actually get him out of here. Of course, they decided to tape them in place. Now, the regular version of this guy is $270. And like I said, you're not getting Toto and you're not getting the little thrusters. $290 will get you the Deluxe one. Comparatively, $270 was the same price as Casca, and definitely think it might be a little much, just for the standard version, at least in my opinion. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really loving the blue color that they use there. It's probably accurate, but I think just seeing it on him, it's almost like too intense. And again, that's probably how it actually is in the show. I should have done my due diligence and rewatched it prior to doing this. But I often don't do things that I should, so no difference here. I do love the coat. He is going to go fantastically in my brown coat collection. I have him hanging out and playing cards with Malcolm Reynolds or something fun like that. Really doesn't seem to restrict his movement at all, which is nice. Obviously, his hat plopped off. We'll take a look at that in just a bit. But I do want to see how much mobility you get out of him. He's pretty much going to be able to get into any main shooting poses that you might want, which is nice. Really quite durable in that regard. A little bit of a hip crunch, but not much. So you're not going to be able to do a ton with that. Not that that's really too big of a deal by any means. Amazing job on that little breathing apparatus there. Really did good work. Even the tubes on his flamethrower. Very nice touch. I'm digging it. Yeah, really the only complaint I've got so far is I don't like the shade of blue they used. But again, probably correct. Also, if you wanted to give a nice little alien kiss, there you go. Head sculpt is phenomenal. Very nice job with the skull cap on him as well. Really does look very, very accurate to how he did in the show, which honestly, quite impressed with. As far as his legs go, also, if you were wondering, the coat is not wired, which is kind of a bummer. So he's got his holsters there for his blasters, which is nice. I think he calls them the Persuaders or his persuasion technique, something like that. They're LL-30 blast tech pistols, which kind of standard for bounty hunters back in the day. But more importantly, he has a really funny name for them. I think they're called his persuasion technique. You might even just call them my Persuaders. Don't really remember, but I do love that he's got the little bullets because he doesn't use them too often, but fun little touch there. As for the hat, I am kind of curious how this fella's going to work. It's basically just a little felt one. That actually looks pretty good when it's on him. I was worried it'd be a little oversized. Sometimes when they make hats for 6th scale, they tend to be a little bit too big to where they look really kind of wonky when they're sitting on his head. Not so much here. You can kind of tilt it as needed, which is good. Not bad. Now what they did with him, I don't think you actually get separate head sculpts. I think you just get separate face pieces. And this part here should just pop right off. I'm not going to go ahead and do that yet, because I honestly don't know how they're attached. If it's just magnets or something like that, it'll be a piece of cake. With my luck, I'd probably yank it and break it. There's the little angry face. Looks like it pretty much just snaps right into position, so I don't think it'll be anything too complex to get those swapped out. If you want him yelling and screaming. Really good job at the teeth there. Honestly, they painted this phenomenally. Like, they really did just an absolutely outstanding job with him. Which, as a Cad fan, I certainly appreciate. And kind of the standard grimace as well. Really, really cool. You can get super close if you want to do the... I was hoping it would get a little more focused, go for the good, the bad, and the ugly vibe. Oh well. Can't win all the time. So here we go. Here's our little Toto. And yeah, he's cool. So I could see why they didn't charge too much for him, just because, you know, all things considered, he is a little dude. But they did a really good job with him. It's actually quite articulate. He is plastic. These pieces are delicate, so if you're like me, just be careful when you're moving him around. I'm almost scared to move that arm. It does not seem to want to rotate much, and I have a feeling it might break. So I'm just going to pretend that this arm doesn't move. I'm sure it probably does. Same with his legs here. I'm going to check the instructions on him just to check. Because like this guy moved real freely. And I can move this around without much problem. Actually, I can't even bend that elbow. Alright, I'm going to pretend and accept that he's only got the basic ball joints. Which is probably the safe move. I don't really want to break anything on him. Also, really good job painting the eyes. They've got a really nice glow to them, even though there are certainly no actual glowing elements to it. I really like the guy, so I'm pretty happy to get a little Toto. I can't go wrong there. I think this is just, if I can get it out, going to be a little stand for him. Yeah, it looks like that's just a little accessory stand, which is probably going to be replacement joints down there. Take a look at these fellas, if I can get them out, and then we'll take a look at the blasters as well. So these would be the little jet thrusters that he's got, which they honestly did a really good job for. They should just hook onto his shoes. I'll take a quick gander. Don't know if they're going to make it overly obvious. It doesn't seem like they did. So that'll be one for the instruction books. I've learned that sometimes it's best to not just try random stuff. So we'll take a look at seeing how those attach in just a moment. Also, it looks like you get some replacement parts for Toto as well. So if you want to change him up a little bit, get some, appears to be alternate eyes, and then these should be little booster feet for him, hopefully. Those are going to be incredibly difficult to get out. I lied. There we go. So yeah, those would just be little boosters to attach to the bottom if you have Toto flying around. Really pretty straightforward, just a little blue fire, nothing too spectacular. But definitely a nice little touch there. I do certainly want to take a look at some of his extra hands. I suppose if you're wondering, we should take a look at this base as well. Not going to hurt any. Alright, so they actually did a really good job with this. He's got footprints in there for standing, which is awesome. Got the nice little Cad Bane there as well. He does have the dynamic flight stand in case you wanted him jumping around. And really just the surface that they did on that. Really outstanding. Just a very nice texture to it. Good job in their behalf. Well, I seem to have this problem a lot lately with the faceplates on these. They're supposed to just clip in and stay put. This is now the second one that I've had this issue with. I do think I might just be stupid at times. Or maybe Sideshow or Hot Toys is just dropping in quality when it comes to their bases, but this is kind of the second one I've had this happen to. So I'll have to write to Sideshow on that. With the Casca, they sent me another base and it just snapped in and it fit real perfectly. This one doesn't seem to click at all. It just kind of flops right out of there. We'll deal with that later. That's a fun little thing to be mindful of. I will say Sideshow is really good about getting the replacement one out, and the Casca one does look gorgeous now. But it's not something... It actually seems like it's staying okay. It's not something you should really have to deal with. I don't know why they wouldn't just glue those into place or figure out a better way to actually secure them. Now there is one little thing in here that I'm not sure what it is, so I'm going to be careful. And that is this. I assume it's just a little comm badge for him. That'll be one for the old instruction booklet. More importantly, these guys here. And if you were wondering, that's the little fire for his wrist flamethrower. But really, I just want to take a quick look at one of his guns, because I do love the weapons in this universe. And that thing is fantastic. It's a really cool design. Honestly reminds me so much of the old, like, Colt armies and pythons and single actions from the Western era. So I just really digging that. I don't think it's got any movable parts on it, which is fine. You don't really need them for this thing. But yeah, they just did an outstanding job. And of course, those will just clip right into his little holsters there. So really, the only thing I'm not too sure about, that little guy there, and then how to actually attach those little jet thrusters. So we're going to go ahead, do something I rarely do, and take a look at the instructions real fast, and at least get an idea of it. That way, if you're kind of like me and wondering, we'll get you an answer. All right, let's see what we can do here. Step 1, opening the instructions. So the fire should work the same as Casca for the most part. Yeah, you'll just probably have to... Might need to pull out the hand and insert it, but that's not too big of a deal. Guns is pretty straightforward and obvious. The hat comes on and off, in case you weren't aware. Switching out the faces, like I said, pretty straightforward in that regard. Now, here we go. So this is part of his breathing system. This is just a little antenna thing that goes on his backpack. I honestly might leave that off. I feel like that's going to be something that I knock over and it just goes flying at some point and I lose it forever. Little warning on how you should not move his legs. There's definitely some crotch restriction. I wouldn't even try 90 degrees, to be honest. I mean, you can, but if it seems like it's not going, don't force it. All right, so supposedly... Oh, okay. So there's actually a section of bullets that you remove and then pop the thruster in place instead. That makes it actually pretty dang easy. We're going to see real fast how easy that is, because I'm kind of curious. So somewhere around here, looks like these guys should pop off, maybe? Should pop off. Wonderful, they popped off. All right, and then, once you get that little section of bullets out, This is probably the wrong thruster. Maybe not. But you just kind of click it into there. At least in theory. Maybe. Yeah, it didn't work as planned. Alright, so it is going to snap in place once it's actually in there, because it's kind of like a little two-piece clasp. I'm not going to force it too much, because I'm going to leave the bullets in there instead, but there you go. You can have little rocket thrusters in case you want them zipping around. So certainly a fun little add-on there. Now, interestingly, I'm pretty confident that those are listed as an exclusive for the Deluxe, so I'm not sure how these are going to be on the standard version. I would think that they would just use the same universal part for all of them, but it would be weird to have removable bullets and not really anything to do with them. But I digress. So that'll do it for this one. Overall, I'm a big fan. I might end up darkening the blue on his gauntlets just to make it a little more appealing to me. I know it's probably accurate, but at the end of the day, it's my figure, so if I want it to look different, so be it. That'll do for this one. Also, got to give a big heart to all of you. There you go. We just recently hit the 500 subscriber march, which means I'm almost technically eligible for monetization, which would be cool. If that ever happens, I'll give you a whole bunch of those. But I do plan on doing like a special unboxing at some point during this week. I've got a nice older figure that I've left sealed for a long time, so we'll kind of crack into that and see how it goes, just to have some fun. So that'll do it for this one. Once again, thank you all so much. Been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you next time.